Pastor Bill, Bethel Lutheran Church. We're located in Green Valley, and today is a Wednesday. It is the 28th of July, and a wacky Wednesday, correct, Noah? What do you have for us today?
Why are teddy bears never hungry?
They're never hungry. I don't know. Why are teddy bears never hungry?
They're always stuffed.
Okay. Do you have another one?
What is the difference between a guitar and a fish?
Well, I guess I would say you can't play a fish. What's the difference between a guitar and a fish?
Because you can tune a guitar, but you can't tune a fish.
Thank you, Noah. Please pray with me. Dear Lord, that we are mindful that later on today there is some possible heavy weather coming the way of Shawano County, and we would pray for everyone's safety. Not only keep us safe, dear Lord, but always hold us close in your love. We pray this in your name. Amen. And our text for today, this Wednesday, is from the Gospel of Mark, the 6th chapter. It begins with the 35th verse. By this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. "This is a remote place," they said, "and it's already very late. Send the people away so that they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered, "You give them something to eat." They said to him, "That would take more than a half year's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat?" "How many loaves do you have?" Jesus asked. "Go and see." When they found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and 50s. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples to distribute to the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. Here ends our reading. I think the most interesting part of this miracle is not necessarily the miracle itself, but what Jesus does before the miracle. There have been a lot of people who've been following him around, listening to him preach, learning, being filled spiritually and growing, learning a new way of living, learning a way of salvation. And the disciples, they're pretty much informing Jesus, it's really getting late. We've got to be going. We've got things to do, places to go, people to see. We've got to get going. Send these people away. And Jesus says, "You give them something to eat." You give them something to eat. His response to their talking about the need that the people have towards the end of the day, that they're hungry, he responds not by saying, "Okay, no problem, fellows. I'm going to just do a miracle here." His response is to tell the disciples, "What can you do?" Well, obviously this task is beyond the disciples, but they do get bread and fish to Jesus. And then he does that incredible miracle where he multiplies the fish and loaves. People are fed. They all ate and were satisfied. But one of the important points of this passage is the way in which they were satisfied was very temporary. Jesus would later say, don't be satisfied just with the bread that gets you by for a day. But what you need is the bread of heaven. What you need is the bread that will not grow stale. What you need, Jesus says, is me. We need Christ. We need Christ because Christ is our forgiveness. Christ is our salvation. There is no other way around it. We need Christ for those 2 items, forgiveness of sins and salvation, much, much more badly than we need food. Remember this. Remember this story where Jesus says, "You give them something to eat." And think in your coming days of how that might apply to you. How you might be generous and sharing with those in need. How you might be an extension of God's love. Amen. Please pray with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Live out your life in the safety and comfort of Jesus' love. Amen.